Hi, welcome to this week's Sim Racing News Roundup, and first of all, apologies, this video is a little bit late coming out. Was travelling up and down the country with work yesterday, so I'm a day late recording this, but better late than never, as they say. So let's kick things off first of all with Grid Legends, where we finally have the first DLC for Grid Legends, as well as an update patch. It's a basically Destruction Derby update with 5 new cars, 4 new track layouts at 2 of the existing locations, and a few other bits and pieces. I'm not going to go into huge amounts of detail because I've already put a video together on this one, which I'll link down below, as well as linking the patch notes and everything else down there too. So it's there. If you've got the season pass, it's free for you, so you can get it already. Well, it's not free, you've already paid for it basically. And as a standalone one, I would strongly suggest looking into what's contained within the DLC before you opt to go for it, because Destruction Derby, it's not for everyone, and the 5 cars are limited in where you can use them as a result of that. So do take a look at that. But yeah, all of the necessary information on both the DLC and the update are down below. We then move on to BeamNG, who put out a huge patch upgrade release last week for the title, and in quick succession this week we've had not 1, not 2, but 3 hotfixes land for BeamNG. So these are all really doing the same thing. They're tweaking and fixing little issues that have arisen as a result of that major update last week. So worth having a quick look at that and seeing what's going on with that. If you've got BeamNG, make sure you are fully up to date. But yeah, so 3 there for BeamNG. We then have news of a new title set to launch in August of this year, August the 26th if I remember correctly, which is an NHRA video game. So it's the National Hot Rod Association, which basically it's drag racing with the full funny cars and all of the lunacy associated with drag racing. Now, I'll be perfectly honest, whilst this is a massively underrepresented part of motorsport as far as video games go, the developer behind it, from a quick look, does not appear to have a great pedigree when it comes to putting out decent quality racing games. We're not even talking single A here, let alone triple A. So I'm watching this one with trepidation to see what we get off of the back of it. Not a great deal of info available so far. What I've managed to find myself, I will link down below for you. We then move on to Redout 2, which I reviewed recently, well, had a first look at recently, and is a title I've been enjoying in a kind of Wipeout vibe. No combat as far as the anti-grav racing market goes in Redout 2, but it is a good solid title for an anti-grav racer. But one of the issues with it was around a difficulty spike in one of the tutorials, which annoyed and frustrated a lot of people, and they put out a small patch to address that. So if that has been annoying you in Redout 2, you should have an easier time with that now. We then come to the news, and this is not so much about a patch or an update, but a change in, shall we say, the natural order of things. So for the past however many years, the FIA's choice of game for their esport activities been Gran Turismo Sport specifically. And many understandably thought that might continue as Gran Turismo 7 came out. But we've had the news this week that that is not the case, and Gran Turismo is no longer the FIA's game of choice for esport competition, and that has in fact now moved over to Assetto Corsa Competizione. So this is quite a big change. So any FIA esport activity will, from this point on, be carried out within Assetto Corsa Competizione. No longer will it be in Gran Turismo of either flavour, Sport or 7. So quite a change there. Let me know what you think of that one, because it's probably going to affect quite a few people potentially, and their choice of gaming. We then move on to Forza Horizon 7, and we've had a whole host of new features land for this, predominantly the setups for the Hot Wheels expansion that's coming soon. and some major game fixes going on in there. Quite a lot going on with regard to that. One of the big ones off of the back of that is the fact that it now allows story co-op to be played with up to 6 players online, so this expands the online functionality around Forza Horizon 5 quite significantly. In the past, if you were in a convoy with other players and one of them decided to drop into a story activity, it basically shut the lobby down and the convoy ended. Now that is not the case. You can now join a story mode activity with up to 5 other people in your convoy, which is great news if that's your bag. We then move over to Gran Turismo 7, and we've had another update for Gran Turismo 7, dropping both some content and some cars, as well as a few other bits and pieces in that. I will probably put a separate video together around this one once I've had more of a chance to play around with it, but basically what we've got is we have a new track, and it is actually a genuinely new track to the series, and that's Watkins Glen. Full disclosure, as far as North American circuits go, Watkins Glen is probably one of my favourites. I absolutely love the track for its old school vibe, and I'm looking forward to giving this one a go within Gran Turismo 7. We've also had 3 new cars added. First of all, we've got a Ford 1932 Ford Roadster, although I think the year of it's actually 63 because it's a hot rod built around a 1932 Ford Roadster. We've had the Suzuki Escudo Pikes Peak Special added, so that's a bit of an old school one for Gran Turismo, but don't get excited, Pikes Peak has not been added, which to my mind arguably limits the functionality of this car quite a bit. And then finally, the Suzuki Vision Gran Turismo, which came out on the last content drop, has now got a Group 3 version of it, so basically they've just tweaked and upgraded that model and turned it into a racing variant. There's been some new menus added in the cafe side of things, and a few other bits and pieces have been tweaked within GT7 as well. We've then, in surprising news, also had a patch for the historically and truly appalling NASCAR 21 Ignition. So they've fixed a few career mode bits and pieces, some lighting around the tracks, pit stops, AI and UI has apparently been tweaked. I must confess, I don't know how extensive these are because I've not gone anywhere near NASCAR 21 Ignition since they put the last patch out, which did absolutely nothing to fix how fundamentally broken and terrible the game was as a whole package, and that was back in February. We'll have to see if I can work up the courage to actually head back in there and see if it is still as dire as it's ever been. I may or may not do that, but we'll see. We'll see. And that's all of the news for this week. What you've been watching is Assetto Corsa mod time again, but the track is a truly special one because Fat Alfie has struck again, and we've got another absolutely fantastic track has been released by Fat Alfie. So this is Badenberg Ring, version 1.0, which has landed on Race Department, and as always a link down below to that. And what we've effectively got here in this track is, well, it's an old school track from the 50s based on public roads that was used not for car racing but for motorcycle racing, and I think it was 1957 they stopped using it because of an accident which caused a couple of fatalities. Valve has kind of like recreated it as using all the available data he could find and turned it into a track for us to race cars on in Assetto Corsa, and it is an absolute cracker. It really is. It's about 12.5 kilometres in length. Looks absolutely stunning. Really solid mesh, really good fun to drive. And car-wise, the one I picked for this was the Alfa Romeo Giulietta Spider race car. It's a little bit older in terms of its vintage, or rather younger, going mad there, younger than the track, as this is a car from the 60s, but the vibe of the two together just worked really well for me, and it's quite an enjoyable little car to throw around Badenberg Ring. So those are the 2 mods, linked down below as always. And that's everything I've got for you this week. Hopefully you found this video useful, and if you do want to see more content like this, please do subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified when new content gets uploaded. And if you've enjoyed the video, please do hit the like button. Thanks very much everyone. Take care. Bye bye.